Today, July 4th, 2024, 248 years after the founding of the United States of America, the Declaration of Independence being signed, freeing us from oppression out of the hands of the British. The Constitution being ratified, giving us all freedoms. Today, that's why we celebrate. We celebrate those who sacrificed life and limb for that freedom. Our troops, our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Coast Guardsmen, Space Guardians, National Guardsmen, reservists. We celebrate the greatness of our nation. Unfortunately, today, I cannot celebrate. No, in fact, I will not celebrate. Now, I'm going to say some things in this video that you're going to hate me for. And a lot of you are going to question my loyalty to this country. But make no mistake about this. This is the son of an Army soldier talking to you right now. I was raised to respect my country, to love my country, and more importantly, to cherish the freedoms that this nation affords me. But today, I cannot celebrate with a clean conscience. Because honestly, after the events of the last few days, the events of the last few months, and the events of the last few years, I cannot celebrate what has happened in this country because of the greed and corruption of one man and his followers. Earlier this week, the Supreme Court, in fact, I should say the MAGA members of the Supreme Court, and we know who those people are, have chosen to give Donald Trump absolute immunity for his official acts. Now, I made the explanation as to what official acts means in my previous video. However, now that Donald Trump has immunity for quote-unquote official acts, they can argue that what happened on January 6, 2021, what happened there, when Donald Trump lost the election and the United States Congress and Senate was there to codify those results, Donald Trump pushed a mob of people to attack the U.S. Capitol. He didn't say it would go peacefully during that time. He didn't say treat people with respect. No. He told them to attack the U.S. Capitol in the hopes of staying in office. Police officers were beaten and brutalized. The only casualty that day was one of the people who was trying to break into the Senate chamber with the expressed motive of killing members of the Senate and Congress who did not kowtow to Donald Trump, to steal the election for Donald Trump. And after all the investigations and recounts, it has been shown that Donald Trump and his minions themselves tried to steal the election. But unfortunately, thanks to the Supreme Court, Donald Trump could possibly argue that what happened on January 6th was an official act of the presidency, although we all know it was a terrorist attack by the President of the United States, perpetrated by him, pushed by him, and done by his idiotic, empty-headed supporters, who have now threatened to do it all again. The real danger I see when it comes to this day, to July 4th, to Independence Day, is that today will be the last time we freely celebrate this day. the last time we will be able to see fireworks go off in the air, barbecue with our families, travel between states for vacations, because Donald Trump has made it abundantly clear what his motives are if he wins the presidency again. And the MAGA members of the United States Supreme Court have made it abundantly clear that the law doesn't apply to Donald Trump, although we have a lot of receipts from the MAGA members of the Supreme Court saying that the president is not above the law. But apparently it's about Donald Trump being above the law, and the rest of us be damned. To paraphrase Robert H. Jackson, a former lawyer and associate justice to the U.S. Supreme Court during the Nuremberg trials, the United States Supreme Court, the MAGA members of the United States Supreme Court, put a loaded gun into the eager hands of Donald Trump. And if you think Donald Trump is not willing to pull that trigger, you have another thing coming. Forget the fact that he said, for a few moments, forget the fact that he blustered that he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and his poll numbers would go up. Forget that for a few minutes because that could be all bluster. But understand what he is and what he has done. This is a man who says that if he gets back in the office, he'll be the MAGA's retribution. That should scare you to death. This country isn't about retribution, and not from its chief executive. This man has said that he will tear our alliance apart with other free nations if they don't pay the bill. This is a man who has made multiple threats of taking away rights from American citizens of color or the LGBTQ, all in the hopes of staying in power indefinitely. This is a man who cannot be allowed in the White House again. Because as much as I wish not to celebrate the 4th of July, we need to all remember what the 4th of July is about. It was the day that we declared independence from a nation that was oppressing America. And during its entire history, during the history of our nation, we have tried to be better than where we once were, where slavery was abolished, where oppression was more commonplace than anything else. And now we have a chance to do it one last time. Donald Trump and his followers want our country to go backwards, to turn into the dystopian nightmare that we escaped from all those generations ago. We cannot afford to go backwards, because innocent lives will be lost because of it. The flag we flutter in the breeze, that won't mean anything if Donald Trump gets back in the office. It will be replaced by the Trump flag. He's already made that abundantly clear. It will be replaced by the flag of Donald Trump's face on it. He's made that abundantly clear. The Constitution of the United States of America, the freedoms that we as American citizens enjoy, will be taken and thrown on the ash heap. The Supreme Court, the MAGA members of the Supreme Court, have taken the United States Constitution and thrown it on the ash heap in the service of Donald Trump. This November, we have a chance to stop that insanity. regardless of your feelings about Joe Biden and you think he may be too old or he may have some mental problems, right now, at this very moment, I would vote for a man who may have senior problems. He may not be able to walk fast. He may not be able to ride a bike straight. He may be cognitively in decline, maybe. But I would rather vote for a person like that than experience 4 more years of hell with Donald John Trump at the helm of our country. We barely survived the first 4 years, and a lot of us didn't survive because of his stupidity, his malfeasance, and his negligence as President of the United States. We cannot afford 4 more years. And if he gets reelected, today, July 4th, Independence Day 2024, will be the last day we celebrate that most important day in American history. Because let me tell you what's going to happen. Independence Day will be put on the ash heap for Trump Day. The American flag will be replaced by the Trump flag. And the rights and liberties and freedoms that we enjoy now will be thrown into the fires. The Constitution of the United States, the Bill of Rights, will be up for sale to those of us who can afford it. Because Donald Trump's number one priority isn't the American people. It's anything that can fill his pockets. We have a chance here and now to stop that insanity. In November, vote against Donald Trump and for Joe Biden, or whoever the Democrats want to put up in the interim. Because that prospect of another Democratic president is a lot better than what the Republican Party and the MAGA have planned for this country. Project 2025. Read it, learn it, understand what they want to do to this country if they grab power once again. This is why I cannot celebrate July 4th this year. Because quite frankly, it could be the last Independence Day any of us celebrate if Donald Trump is let back into the White House. That is not a threat. That is the reality of the situation. That is not a threat. That is how things are now. Trump, right now, has a gun to the head of our country. Do not let him pull the trigger. Our freedoms are too important for the success and the greed and the corruption of one man and the insanity of so many others who want to support him. CTP, know the truth, God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.